Welcome to the Family Dynasty podcast, where legacy meets leadership. I'm your host, Matt Dewing, family guide, business advisor, and believer in generational purpose. Our aim is to inspire and equip you to lead your family so that together you will experience compounding wealth in all 7 capitals through the generations. Each week we uncover timeless wisdom, cultural dynamics, and practical tools to help you lead with vision, live with intentionality, and build a flourishing family that multiplies in impact. Let's get to work. The dynasty starts now.
Welcome back to the Family Dynasty podcast. Today, we're diving into the third of the 7 capitals of wealth, relational wealth. This episode is recorded from my parents' rustic cabin, the place where our family often gathers. In fact, after this recording, we're having our monthly family meeting. I'm joined by my daughter, Megan, and my sister-in-law, Delphine. I'm excited for you to meet Delphine, and I have a feeling you'll be cheering for her to join us again in future episodes. You'll hear a mention of how much Delphine meant to my daughter, Megan, as she recalls one specific time when Delphine took them through an art project of Mod-Podging a stone. I keep this on my bookshelf in my office to this day. And Megan speaks of the wonderful relational investment Delphine has made in her life, specifically in that event and through time. Now, I'll admit, I didn't script this conversation as tightly as I sometimes do. I decided to wing it, which always leaves me with the sense that there's so much more to say. And that's true. Relational wealth is so deep, so critical, and so practical that we could spend a whole series or more unpacking it. But my hope today is that you'll catch both its importance and some simple ways to grow it in your own family. One of the scriptures we come back to often at Family Dynasty in relation to relational wealth is Romans 12:10. Love one another with brotherly affection. Outdo one another in showing honor. Just imagine a family culture shaped by that kind of thinking. We Dewings can be a pretty competitive bunch. But what if the best competition in a family was to out honor each other? That's a game everyone wins. And it creates joy, safety, and strength in relationships. As we continue through the 7 capitals, I want you to notice how the first 3 form the foundation of a flourishing dynasty. 1, spiritual wealth, knowing God and grounding our family in Him. 2, health wealth, stewarding our bodies and energy well. And 3, relational wealth, building strong bonds inside the family. The later capitals, intellectual, financial, social, and societal impact, all flow outward from this foundation. And just to clarify, when we say relational wealth, we mean the richness of relationships within the family. We'll get to social wealth later in the series, which deals with our relationships outside the family. Before we close today's conversation, I'll share a brief video, a family video reflection on how my own family, our relationships deepened during our off-grid fishing trip in Ontario this summer. That time together reminded me again how relational wealth is cultivated, not in grand gestures, but in shared presence, intentional time, in choosing to honor one another. My prayer is that today's episode encourages you to invest in the life-giving wealth of your family relationships. Because without strong bonds inside the home, no dynasty can stand the test of generations. Let's join the conversation.
Well, welcome to the Family Dynasty podcast here with Megan, my daughter Megan. I think, Megan, you've been on every single podcast,
Yes,
haven't
I have.
you? Wonderful. You're going back to college soon, so I don't know how we're going to make that work. Maybe we'll have to get you on Zoom.
Yeah.
In your
work.
busy schedule.
Yeah.
Dad, I'm too busy studying today. And we're also joined by my sister-in-law, Delphine, for her debut performance on the podcast. We're so happy to have you here, Delphine.
I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. And so we're talking through this series that we're doing on family total wealth, and the 7 capitals today brings us to capital number 3 in this priority of first our focusing on our spiritual wealth, and then our health wealth, and now our relational wealth. So one of the things we've done is to think about the 7 capitals in terms of an analogy to a javelin thrower. Think of an elite javelin athlete. And so if we kind of break that down, and we'll talk about where where relational wealth falls into that. A lot of times, if you're picturing this javelin athlete, right? Usually we're thinking of that arm that throws the javelin as, wow, that's the might behind how far this javelin goes. And actually what we're saying is that arm is number 5. That's the financial capital. The financial wealth of a family is what really launches that javelin. But that can't happen. That's kind of 5th place. First and primary is spiritual. And we say spiritual is the core. If you look at a javelin athlete, in what is probably the most important part of their physique or training, it's core training. They have to have such a strong core that connects the force translation from the ground up through their body to their arm. And it's that core, just like a golfer, the power of a golfer's swing is really in their core. So the spiritual wealth, we kind of feel like is the core of an athlete's power to perform. Second is that health. We think of it as the heart and lungs, right? You need a strong heart and lungs to be able to perform well. Third is that contact of the foot with the ground, relationships. And so we feel like relationships are what gives us grounding. If you're in mud and you go to throw a baseball or throw a javelin, you're going to throw it very poorly because you don't have a good footing. You don't have something solid to push off from. And if you haven't developed the kind of sinews and capacity within your leg to really anchor it and get some spring off from it, from that contact with the ground, you're not going to be able to launch that. So we think of relationships kind of as our grounding. And then from that, fourthly, we say the head, right? Our decision-making capabilities, our intellectual wealth is really the head. 5th is the arm. The arm is what launches the javelin. It's that financial. And then our social wealth, we think of as the crowd around us. It's cheering us on. It's those who are our comrades in arms, our teammates, or those around us cheering. And then ultimately, it's where that spear hits, right? It's going for that record throw, where the javelin kind of wins the prize, the impact that we're making ultimately of all the training that's going on. It's all about the impact we can make upon society. So with that idea, talking about relational wealth within a family, we want to try to frame this not just as individual relational health, how am I good at sustaining relationships within a family, but thinking of our families as systems. And if our family is a system, and we could look at our relational wealth corporately, right? What is the multiplied effect of our relational wealth? Is there only 1 or 2 people that have relational ability, or are we as a family system excelling in relational wealth? What are some of the benefits you think of thinking about it from a system standpoint, not just as an individual standpoint? Or let's take it from there.
Well, I think though the example of the javelin thrower is super picture of it, because when you were explaining that relationships would be the feet, and if you go to step in mud, you're actually probably, when you go to throw that arm, you're going to fall on your face. Your legs are going to go out from under you. Mm-hmm. So if we were trying to do these projects together as a family, and we're showing up, and this one's having a tiff over here, and things are not well between the people in our family, that project's pretty much a waste. Like, we're not going to get anywhere, mm-hmm. right? I mean, we might try to throw and hit that target, and we might produce something, mm-hmm. but if our feet are standing under us firm, mm-hmm. how much more are we going to accomplish?
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah, and I think resilience specifically within the family, if you have a strong community between everyone, if something was to go wrong with a single person or just one family in the larger unit, you have that group around you that can offer, whether it's like encouragement or wisdom or actual physical help, I think it offers a sense of resilience that maybe other people who don't prioritize the relationships as a whole have. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, I think you want to make sure you have peacemakers in the family, people who can mediate, because there will always be some hot spots of relationships that are in disarray.
I think too, not even just mediators, but people in the family who are intentional, even before any unhealth comes. People who are building health into those relationships so that when those things come up, we can face them in a better way.
Yeah.
You know, I think about the ways that you and Janice have been intentional with our marriage through the years, you know, and that's built a stronger bond between our families so that when things have gone on, you know, we're stronger. We've been able to face those things together because of those intentional trips or intentional walks or conferences that we've done together has built a stronger foundation for those feet to stand on.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I appreciate you saying that, Delphine. And so right now we're sitting in Grandma and Grandpa's cabin at the pond, and they've built this place. And think about what this place embodies for us. It embodies relationships, right? We all come to hang out at Grandma and Grandpa's cabin and pond to picnic, to relate. And tonight we're having our once a month family meeting. So our family system is Grandma and Grandpa, my mom and dad. There are 3 boys and wives and kids. So those that are 13 and older, I think about 30 of us right now, right? Including spouses that have married into the family. That'll continue to become more as we still have a bundle that are under 13. But in our family system, you know, it's not like we have official titles, but you, Delphine, and Nate are kind of like the family chaplains. You know, we've kind of said you're the family. When it comes to this aspect of relational health, you and Nate have taken, you know, nobody told you had to do it. You just said, this is who we are. And we want to, for the family, really champion relationships and you know, be the people that are noticing what's going on and being intentional with encouragement and a lot of the other aspects that are going on. So just that's an example for a family system. Right. Like as you understand what your family system is, find out who those people are that have a knack for relationships, have a passion for making sure there is healthy relationships, and then just, you know, ask them to step up and really use their gifts in that area. And I think we're a much better family system because of the level of intentionality that you and Nate put into fostering those kind of healthy relationships.
I feel pretty strongly that in a family unit, the role of an aunt and uncle is pretty significant. Because we as parents, we have a role that we raise our children and, you know, we can speak into their lives, but there's something about an aunt and uncle. I just really treasure those relationships. I had an aunt and an uncle separately who were very significant in growing up, and I think that I don't believe better of myself because of their intentionality with me. And so I just feel like that's a really important role. Yeah. And I feel like any family is going to have aunts and uncles, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes there's just things that kids can't hear from their parents.
Right.
There's been walls or things, but then an aunt and uncle can step in and
It makes me think, you know, I mean, maybe one of the things that today does is just inspire someone who has a niece or nephew to say, you are underestimating your value in your niece and nephew's life. Get more intentional. Do something meaningful.
Yeah.
Do something to reach out.
I think a voice of an
aunt
and uncle is very powerful.
Yeah, no, you know, I appreciate that. I love, you know, one thing I was going to say in introducing you, you are the mother to 7 of my favorite nieces and nephews. There's only 2 other ones, and they're also my favorite. Joel and Mimi have 2, and you and Nate have 7. But yeah, just, it is a special thing to be an uncle, too. And to know I have a voice in these young people's lives. Yeah, I know it because, like you said, right, we've lived it. And for better or worse, your aunts and uncles have definitely an influence on your life.
Yeah, I can attest to that because one of my favorite memories of you is when I was younger, you invited me over to make a Father's Day gift for Dad, where we cut out little words out of a magazine and Mod Podge them to a rock. And it's one of my favorite memories, and it makes me think of how intentional you were, even though at the time I might not have realized it was much, but now it was just a little thing that was
You probably don't
growing
even
a
remember.
I don't remember.
You don't
Yeah,
remember?
I know.
Yeah.
I love those. I love those things. I think I still have that.
I'm
mug.
remembering the rocks now, but wow, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. Thank
Yeah,
you.
to say nothing about grandparents, right? I mean, obviously, now that you have 4 grandchildren,
6.
6.
6.
Okay, I can't keep track. 6 under the age. What's the oldest?
3.
Oh my goodness.
The
6
two oldest are
grandchildren
3.
under
There are 2 3s, 2 2s, and 2 infants.
Right. So your oldest 2 children are married, each with 3 children.
Yep.
That's right. Oh, that's nuts. And
Yeah.
so we have. So I'm older than Nate by 2 years. You have 6 grandchildren, and we only have 2.
3.
Oh yeah, we just had
3 now.
We just
3.
had Ellie.
Another one on the way.
This is
It's
why-
going to start happening fast.
Oh, I know.
isn't it? It's-
Yes. Yeah, I know it. It
Yeah.
is. It
They
is.
start
But,
doubling and tripling. And
But these two boys are, a year and not quite a year. And just like when they look at me, I have a feeling like they know something about me. They know there's something to me in them, and I just look forward to really developing that relationship. But yeah, God has put something really special in there for
do you
grandparents.
think about you're a great uncle? You are a great
Yeah,
uncle.
right.
I guess.
I got the gray hairs to prove it. Too,
Great
yeah.
aunt. Yeah.
Yeah, so this whole idea of relational health. One thing that we talk about family offices or families that have enterprising families that have developed wealth and they have their own family office. It seems to me the primary driver of the family office is finances, and it is this pursuing and stewarding wealth as a business is kind of the primary identity for a family, it seems, in many cases. And to me, this is sad. And this is what part of our goal as Family Dynasty is to reframe for those families to say, if you want this to last, and if you want to enjoy your wealth, and to make as big an impact as you possibly can, you need to be, whatever intentionality you're giving to your financial portfolio, fantastic. Don't take the gas off. Keep that focus. But triple, quadruple, 10x your focus on developing the relational systems, the relational health of your family. And that takes some financial investment to do that as well. Anything that, from a standpoint of just comparing, contrasting, the tendency to emphasize finances over the significance of relationships, anything you've seen or just observed or want to comment on?
What I was thinking when you were talking about putting your foot on the gas, but I think that if you have to let your foot off the gas on the financial portfolio to work on some of the spiritual and the relationship, do that too. Because I feel like our family could get so caught up in the projects that we're all working on right now. And if individual families are starting to fall apart because they're too busy, or maybe somebody's not agreeing, whatever, we need to step back and make sure. That's why these family meetings are so valuable, right?
Yeah.
Because we get together once a month and have a meal together, and that's a platform for us to share how are things going. And I feel like that gives us a place where we would be able to say safely, hey, I think we're doing too much, or I think we need to back off on this one and work on this one, or I think we need to just do something together as a family. I think we need to just get in the car and go camping and build some relationships and just put that store on hold, something like that, just if need be, stronger,
No, I'm glad you said that, because I'm thinking of examples where we have observed families who catch a little fire for this vision, and they desire the kind of relational family system that every family desires. And they put a little effort into it, and life is busy. And yeah, we'd like to do that, but I've got this commitment, and I've got this commitment. And we've seen it for far too many families, that the spark that was there to get together regularly, because how can you really sustain relationships if you're not spending some face-to-face time, if you're not spending
Yeah.
time with one another. And so when it no longer becomes a priority to continue to get together, how can you? How can you say you're really investing in the relational wealth of your family? And you're right. Sometimes to add good things to our lives, we have to say no to other good things. Yeah. And this is what I love about our once a month meetings. I would say, correct me, see what you think, but I'm guessing every month there's at least 80% of our family who's here at meetings. Now, every month some people can't make it, whatever reason.
Yeah.
We'll always have that. But I also think the emphasis is on relationships. A lot of months, there's not a ton of business to talk about.
Right.
We get together, and we'll have another podcast on how to have effective family meetings.
Okay.
But I think a part of having effective family meetings is remembering how important relational wealth is to a family and prioritizing that relational wealth within the meeting. What can you build into a meeting that is fostering relational connection, or noticing someone, or calling someone out, or just making space to swim and play and enjoy one another's company.
Yeah.
Megan, when you think of yourself, I mean, you're an aunt, right? But think of yourself as an aunt with 12-year-old and up, nieces and nephews. What do you think? What are some of the dynamics? What are some of the healthy dynamics that you envision? Is there anything that you think about that would be aspects of a healthy, that would be relational wealth for our family in the future?
Yeah, I think carrying on as it has been now, like I want to see all of your grandkids and my nieces and nephews being friends like it is in our family right now, and also kind of the sharing between, your grandkids and having them have relationships, because that just grows the family even bigger, whereas I don't think a lot of families have those kind of generations intermingling. I don't know if that's the right word.
Yeah.
And also being able to pour into my nieces and nephews once they're older. I mean, and when they're younger, but
Yeah.
yeah.
That's great.
I'm really thankful, because if we weren't coming together like this as a family dynasty and having these projects and family meetings, I would be missing out on this connection with these kids. I'm very thankful, because when we're not doing something together, we're off doing our own thing, right? And we're missing out. Like, oh, well, Megan did this. Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Or so and so this happened. But when we're getting together and sharing in life together and doing projects together, then we're constantly in each other's lives, in each other's business, and knowing what's going on enables us to pray for each other more, just know each other better. And I'm really thankful for that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love it. And as an enterprising family, we have businesses together, and a project that we just did this week, right, was a family in the community who needed a deck rebuilt. And so as a family, we went and spent a couple days there, knocked it out in 2 days, right? 2 evenings, really. Completely tore it down, put it back together. And it was a lot of fun.
What I loved about it is because you didn't even have to have a job to be there enjoying it, because you could be sitting on the lawn or watching, or kids were running around while others were building the deck. So people still wanted to be there even if they didn't have a job in that deck. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Having those intentional, whether it's projects or meetings, it kind of gives us a basis to, like you were saying, check up and be with each other, because that's the only way that you're really going to build relationships is having that intentional time.
Yeah, yeah. In our last month's meeting, one of the family members spoke up and said, "Hey, I really miss our annual vacation that we all used to take together. We need to think about that again. Now we do an every 3-year vacation, and none of us want to see." And
which some people would already be like, families would be like, "Wow, you go on vacation every 3 years? That's amazing." But now our kids are like, "We miss going every year."
Yeah. Right. So but we had a great conversation about it, and we didn't come out with any concrete plans, but it stirred again to say, well, maybe there's a way that could happen again.
Oh yeah, Uncle Nate and I discovered one, so I can't wait to share it tonight.
All right. Yeah. Great. Awesome. Yeah. What would you encourage families as they're thinking about you know, maybe before, let's just talk to, my guess is if a family member is having so much pain, let's face it, family is the best of times, it's the worst of times. And I've seen when we present this at conferences or we talk about this concept, you kind of see, I think, three different reactions. You see a reaction of, whoa, this is interesting paradigm. I'm not sure. Let me check it out a little bit. This is, wow, it's intriguing. I want to hear more. Others dismiss it outright. And then the other, I think, has a glimmer of maybe, but the pain that they have endured or the pain that they are currently experiencing in family doesn't even give them the desire to engage the thought at all. They tune it out, wait for the message to be over. Can I just move on with my life? Maybe, just maybe there's somebody who's still tuned in, who is going through so much pain. They're tuned in because they have enough faith to believe that maybe the pain that I experience could be turned around and different. What kind of hope would you give them for relational health in their family? Because I believe it's there. Right. I believe there is hope for those families. And I hope that there are those who are experiencing such pain in their family who are listening today and that are finding hope to say whatever. However bad things are, whatever level of a trough that your family might be in the history of your bloodlines, it does not have to stay there.
Right. I would think if that one person was having that thought and they desired to have something happening in their family, I think of that hymn that starts out, "It only takes a spark to get a fire going."
Yeah.
And I think that one individual just being intentional with one child or one niece or nephew or one father or mother, just intentionally reaching out, it would start there.
That's right. That's right. And even if it's a young family, if it's a young family mourning the fact that their grandparents or parents cannot embrace a vision of an integrated, intergenerational family, that it's not too early for this young family to envision what it's going to be like for them when they're Gen 2 or Gen 3.
Absolutely.
And they can start teaching their kids this way now. And they can start building the vision. I mean, that's one thing that we did with our kids and still do, is our vision for you kids is that you would grow up and remain friends for life. And it seems to be working. It seems to be there, which is a beautiful thing. So start with that. Start with that
traditions.
Vision for your kids.
Traditions are so strong in raising a young family.
Yeah.
And I think you can't really have relationships if you don't have forgiveness and grace also. In a lot of broken or hurting families, like, you can also be part of the problem by not extending forgiveness and grace. And I think you can't grow if you're not in that state.
Yeah. This is one of the things that we mentioned in a family meeting recently, is just to say, we must be a family who is exercising forgiveness. Right? There is no family system with 30 people at a family table that is not routinely offending one another on some level. And the fact that people continue to rally around, be excited about the mandate that God has given our family, and to embrace it and embrace, the kind of good that is in family. People are finding forgiveness and being willing to forgive, which is necessary. You are not going to maintain any kind of healthy family system until you're willing to forgive.
Yeah. I'm so thankful that you bring that to the family's attention, because it feels like an umbrella that feels safe to me. Because sometimes your fear of bringing a whole large family together could be, well, my kids are going to mess up, or I'm going to mess up, and what if we get in a fight about this or that? And that fear could hold you back, and you'd miss out on something so great. But when you put out remind us that umbrella is there, that there's got to be forgiveness, and we can remind each other of that, it just allows us to go out and just try new things and be okay with if something messes up. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Awesome. Anything else that we want to, as we close up today's episode, just reminding families and encouraging them to invest in their relational wealth. Any last parting thoughts you want to leave with people?
Do something intentional.
Awesome. Thanks, Megan. Thank you, Delphine. Until next time, God bless.
We're just completing our Ontario fly-in fishing experience with the youngest 4 kids. We've had a fantastic week here. So kids, let's just answer the question, in what ways has this week, do you think, has improved our family relationships? What do you think, Max?
I think hanging out and playing board games and just being together as a family.
Yeah, that's been great. What about you, Kate?
I feel like I've noticed when we're at home, we all live separate lives a lot of the time, and we're not like spending time together or bonding. And here we've been like, in a way, forced to be with each other. And I think it's been really good because like we've been doing things together as a family than sometimes we don't at home.
Yeah.
I think it's built our relationship.
Wonderful, wonderful. Clara?
Mine's pretty much Max and Kate's, but at home, how we're basically just living our own lives and not really spending time together. But here, we've been like fishing together, playing board games together. I think it's been really good.
Yeah, wonderful. Megan?
Yeah, and in a similar area, but we're kind of in forced close proximity here versus our house. It's so spread out, you can be everywhere, but in this house, you can talk to somebody in the bathroom, with someone who's in the kitchen, with someone who's upstairs. So you're all really close, and also we're off the grid, so there's no service, no distractions, and we're just able to spend good quality time with each other.
Jan?
Yeah, I think everybody kind of covered what I was going to say, but this morning I was thinking the same thing Megan just said with we're all just right here in this little space, and we were talking about Max, and he was hearing us in his bedroom, and just all just right together. And then no distractions. We have so many distractions at home and so many responsibilities. When you're here, we have nothing but to be together and do things together, play games. And
Yeah, we had a lot of anticipation for this trip. We're all wearing our applique fish shirts. We're here because Megan at the beginning of the year said, this year I want to have a vacation. It's a fishing vacation where we actually catch fish. So we came to a fly-in lake and we caught lots of fish. But I think for me, my favorite part of any vacation like this is the times where we just get giggling, where we just get laughing so hard and we can't stop. We've had several moments like that. I don't even know, we probably have a hard time remembering what were the things that got us laughing.
some of them were inappropriate.
But it's just such a sense of freedom, enjoy being together. Yeah, it's been wonderful. You critters are all fantastic. We're not leaving you in the wilds of Canada. We're taking you home. It's been a great vacation. Thanks for joining us on the Family Dynasty podcast, where legacy is built, not just inherited. If today's episode helped you lead your family with greater vision or purpose, share it with someone else who's building a legacy that lasts. And remember, you shall remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the power to get wealth, that He may establish His covenant. Deuteronomy 8:18. Keep building with faith, leading with love, and living for impact. Your family is your greatest calling.